Ocean City.
Dan, you ready?
Mics are unmuted.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September 16th Board of Supervisors meeting, Trinity County. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I have a choice of two. Rick?
Happy to do so. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will start out with presentations. We're going to adopt a proclamation supporting Human Response Network Candlelight Walk, bringing domestic violence awareness.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Board Chair Gogan and distinguished fellow supervisors. My name is Tamim Ansari. I am the program manager for the empowerment team at Human Response Network, and we provide services and support for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. On behalf of Human Response Network, thank you for providing us the opportunity to seek your support for an event that has a deep meaning for our community. The annual Domestic Violence Candlelight Walk, which will be taking place on Friday, October 17th in Weaverville. This event is more than a walk. It is a moment of reflection, remembrance, and unity. Each candle lit represents a life forever changed by domestic violence. It is a time for us to stand together, to honor survivors, to remember those we have lost, and to recommit ourselves to building a safer, more compassionate community. Domestic violence continues to leave a profound mark on our county. In the past year alone, 183 survivors in Trinity County turned to HRN for support and services. Behind each number is a person who is a mother, a father, a child, and a neighbor who has experienced fear, pain, and often silence. The Candlelight Walk gives voices to those stories, and it shows survivors that they're not alone and never forgotten. As part of this year's event, we respectfully request the board's support in issuing a proclamation recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Trinity County. This symbolic gesture would not only raise awareness, but also send a powerful message to our community that stands firmly with survivors and is committed to ending the cycles of violence. We would also like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Supervisor Jill Cox for her presence at last year's walk. Her support meant a great deal to the community. We would be truly honored if a few members of the board participate during this year's walk by either joining us for the walk, sharing a few words with the community, or presenting the proclamation. Your presence would be deeply meaningful and serve as a strong message of solidarity and hope. Thank you for your time, your compassion, and your leadership. We sincerely hope we can count on your support in making this year's Candlelight Walk a powerful expression of community, healing, and resolve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the work that you do. I do have a proclamation for you. If you'd like to stay there. Did you want to say anything? You sure? Okay, proclamation of the Board of Supervisors of Trinity County supporting Human Response Network's Domestic Violence Candlelight Walk. Whereas domestic violence is a grave and pervasive issue affecting individuals and families across our community, regardless of age, gender, or background. And whereas domestic violence encompasses physical, emotional, psychological, financial abuse, creating an environment of fear and suffering that undermines the safety, dignity, and well-being of countless individuals. And whereas the dedicated efforts of local organizations, as yourself, advocates and survivors play a critical role in addressing and combating domestic violence, providing essential support and resources of those in need. And whereas raising awareness and fostering community solidarity are vital components in the fight against domestic violence, and such initiatives help to educate the public and encourage a collective response to this issue. Whereas the candlelight walk event serves as a powerful symbol of hope, remembrance, and solidarity, bringing together community members to honor survivors, mourn who has lost their lives, and support the continued efforts to end domestic violence. And whereas this event also provides an opportunity for community engagement and dialogue, reinforcing our commitment to creating a safer, more supportive environment for victims and survivors affected by domestic violence. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity do hereby acknowledge the Support Human Response Network's Candlelight Walk to be held October 17th, 2025, and recognizes the Candlelight Walk event as a crucial occasion for bringing awareness to domestic violence and honoring the strength and resilience of survivors. Be it further proclaimed that the board encourages all community members to participate in this event and stand united in the fight against domestic violence. Duly passed and adopted the 16th day of September 2025 by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Trinity. Thank you very much. We appreciate your work.
Thank you all. We appreciate you as well. Thank you.
I move to approve that as presented.
Second that.
Supervisor Brownfield,
Aye.
Supervisor Lewiler,
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye. Picture time. Okay, E2, County Administrative Office. Receive a presentation and update from the Redwood Coast Connect Broadband Consortium team on the USDA Rural Broadband Technical Assistance Grant. CEO Tuthill.
Thank you, Chair. We have a few folks online who provide a presentation to the board on a recent grant that Trinity and Humboldt were awarded based upon a combined effort that Connie Stewart has been working on our behalf for quite some time. We had an initial introduction, kind of a kickoff, soft kickoff type meeting with them last week, and thought it would be very good to get them in front of the board just for awareness and also the public as we kick off this effort. So with that, Connie, are you and the team online and ready to go?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we're here.
All right, let us work the volume a little bit, and then we'll pull the slides up and we'll turn it over to you guys.
Thank you so much.
There you go. That's good volume for you. And the slides are up here in the boardroom. And if you just want to tell us when to advance, we can go ahead and do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time, Chairman and members of the Board of Supervisors. I'm Connie Stewart, Executive Director of Initiatives for Cal Poly Humboldt. And I'm joined today here with Susan Bolton and Brian Court from Brightscape Networks to tell you about this grant that we've gotten I'm going to just let Susan and Brian know that my internet, I just got an unstable note. I'm already in Tahoe for the annual RCRC conference that is starting tomorrow. And so if I disappear, you guys just come on, take over, okay? So basically, I want to thank everyone in the county for their tolerance of the Middle Mile 299 project. And I know the question on everybody's mind was, how in the world are we going to benefit from all of this broadband that's come in? And this grant is really about how do we finally hook up households and businesses in the best way in Trinity County. And so that is the intention of this grant, to start benefiting from that middle mile. When we set out 17 years ago to get that middle mile built, we had no idea it would take that long. We had 6 companies fail before lucky number 7 succeeded. And so now it's really time to turn to benefit in the community. Next slide. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian. I think, Brian, you're taking over this slide
I
to
am.
talk to Brightscape Networks.
I am. Good morning. My name is Brian Court. With me is my colleague Susan Bolton. We're representing Brightscape Networks, which partnered with Cal Poly Humboldt in pursuit of this grant. Brightscape is a not-for-profit consultancy that was formed in response to the state's need for a third-party administrator to design and implement the Middle Mile network. That third-party administrator was awarded to Scenic. Scenic spun off a not-for-profit subsidiary, which is Brightscape Networks, to do this work. We assembled a team of people from the commercial telecommunications world, from the educational network world, from community and tribal broadband planning world, and grant writers. And our mission is very simply to bring broadband to everywhere in California. Slide, please. So Connie needs no introduction. She's been fighting this fight before most of us knew there was a fight to be fought. But the rest of us may need a little explanation. At Brightscape, we have been doing broadband engineering for a very long time. We know how to build networks. We know how to operate networks. We know how to work with communities. And as our parent company, Scenic, has been building out community networks into schools and libraries for over 20 years. We will be bringing in an additional staff person under the auspices of Cal Poly Humboldt, a community coordinator to be our eyes and ears and hands in the ground. And we have relationships with service providers, with state agencies, and with communities. So I think the team itself is very well suited to address the requirements of the grant. Slide, please. The grant itself was $1 million over 2 years from the USDA for broadband technical assistance. It's important to understand that this is not specifically to provide broadband. That was not the purpose of the grant, and $1 million isn't enough money anyway. What we think we can do is tee up communities for success as future funding opportunities come along. Our intention is to work with each of the eligible communities in Trinity and Humboldt County to provide actionable plans with budgets and all the supporting necessary information so that as funding opportunities come along, you'll be well teed up to apply for those. And to the extent that they come along during the 2-year period of the grant, we will work with you and help you apply for that funding. Slide, please. So not every community was eligible under the terms of the grant. There were requirements with regard to population and poverty level and so forth. We included every single community that we could fit under the requirements of the grant, and this is the list for Trinity County. So our hope is to work with broadband champions as well as yourselves and your staffs in these communities to come up with actionable plans that can be folded into grant applications as they come along. Slide, please. And I'll let Susan speak to the timeline and deliverables.
Yes, hi, I'm Susan Bolton. I'm the program manager for Brightscapes. And the grant is broken up into three different timelines and project deliverables. The first one is from month 1 to month 12, which started in August. And it's the community's needs assessment, where we will identify and create collaborative partnerships with community champions like yourselves to conduct a needs assessment survey that will collect the data, and then we will analyze the data that we collect from the community members. The second phase of the timeline is the broadband expansion strategy, which starts month 1 through month 16. And we will look at the current mapping and potential mapping of some broadband strategies and current providers. We will also provide tailor actionable broadband strategies, as Brian mentioned, for each community listed. And then the grant application support packages from the final stages of this grant will be month 16 to month 24, which is a grant package templates that will include budget templates, other information, the data that we analyze and we collect from the surveys, and then also technical support for infrastructure grant applications. Next slide. Yes, we could turn this back over to Brian or to Connie now.
So, you know, we're actually going to be really looking at like, what is the tallest structure in that community? What are the actual partners that want to have additional service? How do we actually get to that household when we right now only have their PO box, right? So this is really going to be a detailed on the ground look at how do we actually hook up these neighborhoods and these businesses. And economic development has always been critical in our broadband work. So it's also, you know, talking with economic development providers on what isn't located in Trinity County because they don't have enough infrastructure to move there. So, you know, I tell an anecdotal story of a very early on an architect who built their dream house in Trinity County only to learn that they couldn't do their work from there, so they only came up on the weekends. You know, how do we now tell them that we're going to be able to have the capacity for them to move full-time, which is their dream? And what kind of service do they need? So the survey will be detailed. When we originally launched this effort way back in 2009, we did this kind of on the ground survey of how much people are willing to pay. So we know what the revenue stream is, so we can build a robust system that is affordable, and also the provider can make a living as well. So that's critical. So you know, the benefits of this are going to be being really ready to provide on the ground applications that we can actually implement. I don't know, many of you know, we have currently 4 applications in front of the California Public Utility Commission for providing last mile to broadband to Trinity County. In many cases, you know, we have 3 weeks to write those applications. So we do the best we can. This is going to give us the ability to really do a robust application. And also, I mentioned emergency.
Connie, we're losing you. You're cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. Let me, it's my unstable service. Susan, take over. I think I'm
Yeah.
done this slide though, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So basically, yes, just to finish what Connie was saying, that obviously we need to work with the communities to identify and to support the infrastructure. And then the packets that will be, that will provide will allow the communities to, to have robust applications. And then it will be, hopefully this information will be sustainable because it'll be a strategic plan. And then obviously you all know the benefits of broadband, obviously, you know, improved emergency services and echoing on Connie for economic development. Next slide, please.
So we will be hiring a person under the auspices of Cal Poly. It says link to job posting. That actually has been posted since we sent these slides out. So if you go to the Cal Poly job site and look for non-state positions, you'll see it. If you know somebody you think would be wonderful, please send us our way. I think we're less looking for technical expertise than we are community engagement and energy. So please give that some thought. We would welcome anybody you think would be great at this job. We will be reaching out to the county staff to begin collecting some data that we need to begin the analysis and the planning for the surveys. And we will be setting up in-person and Zoom-based meetings with the community champions and with anybody who's interested in the communities to learn from you what you need, what you already know that we don't know, and to begin getting this process going. With that, I'll be happy to take your questions.
And please go to the next slide so you can see our contact information too. Is, you know, especially if you know someone who is a great cheerleader for our regions and can and knows folks in these communities. We really want to identify champions who can tell the story of the need for these communities. And I would love for it to be someone, hire somebody who's actually in Trinity County to do this work.
Connie, thank you very much. This may have been the first time I have not been able to hear you. You've been such a great cheerleader for this. We do appreciate it. Supervisor Lutweiler.
Yes, thanks. A few questions. So one, when you talk about the community connectivity coordinator, how full-time and for what duration of time?
We have 2 years of funding for this person, full-time.
As a full-time role?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just wanted to make sure so that as we do our outreach and such. Oh, looks like Trent has something.
CEO Tadeo.
I just want to provide some clarification there that is for the efforts in Trinity and also Humboldt. There's a number of communities in Humboldt. This one position is for the whole holistic grant,
Okay.
which is Humboldt and Trinity. So let's just always keep that in mind.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah,
Connie,
sorry.
Did you say 2 people?
No, there'll be one Community Connect coordinator. There will also be employees to help with the survey piece as well. Those will not be 2-year full-time jobs though.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted some clarity on that. Thank you very much.
And then the other question is, when we talk about providing, well, first of all, this is great. You know, these are the kinds of things that if this was left to us to have to do on our own, we would struggle with the funding and the staff and the resources and everything else. So thank you very much. When I look at it and we talk about helping the communities be ready to write grants, does that translate into a community like one of the dozen or so that were listed there, they're doing that? Or it is the county doing that? Or I'm trying to look ahead to say, who are we really empowering in the future with this information? And I guess the second part of that is, who will then have the responsibility to do something with it, to actually make something of it?
Thanks. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. Think about this as preparing grant packages. So we as a team will prepare grant packages for these communities. And then when grants are available, those packages can be tailored to meet those grant requirements. So in many cases, it will be creating a dating service between a internet provider. But if you can hand that internet provider a package and say, here's your package that, tells you exactly how many, hookups we need, where we need, what the tallest buildings are, all the details. Here's the environmental, necessary, and we've already done X, Y, and Z towards that. Then that provider is more likely to turn in an application and provide service to those communities. I'll give you an example. So when the last round of grants happened, right, those providers had 2 weeks. So communities they knew about and had information about were really easy to throw into their grant application. Those communities that we don't have any details on immediately got tossed to the side just because there wasn't enough time.
Okay,
So
thank you.
this is shovel ready. This is getting folks shovel ready for the ability to hook up with a provider who can apply.
Nice. And then those providers, that's the reference that you made to currently 4 that have applications into the California Public Utilities Commission to be able to provide that last mile service in Trinity County. Is that what I heard?
So we are trying to take advantage of every grant application that comes forward now. So in the last application period, we had 4 folks come in and provide, to ask to provide service. And so we want to get ready for future. We know there are going to be future opportunities. The state has an annual opportunity called the California Advanced Services Fund. We have not been able to apply for the California Advanced Services Fund because we have not had this kind of shovel-ready work. So we'll be ready when those grant applications come forward. We probably will not be ready for BEAD. I'll be honest, BEAD is probably going to happen too soon. But for the future ones, we'll have stuff and be ready for them.
Okay. And you used a term that was something to the effect of, I'll call it community champions or something along those lines. So for each of these communities, are we actually looking for someone in that community that's going to step up, kind of like we have in the wildfire world, somebody that steps up and is an ambassador that says, hey, I know this community and I can help you if you're dealing with fires in our area? Is it somebody like that that's going to step up for that community and help when it comes to community plan, or not community plan, just did that last night, community meetings associated with this work?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this coordinator will be identifying the person in that community who really can speak passionately to this. In some of the bigger communities, I have people that are calling me all the time, Connie, when are we going to do this? Here, I need X, Y, and Z. And we're now going to try to develop that in some of these smaller areas that we haven't been interconnected with people who are waiting for this service. And we know that you all as board members know some of these people too. So, we want to be able to reach out to you all and get connected as well on the ground.
Thank you.
Connie, thank you very much. I think we do have a few outlying areas on that 10 or 12 person or 10 or 12 places that you had mentioned on your map. I think Supervisor Brownfield would like to ask about one of those.
Sure. So we would like a translator for Post Mountain, if at all possible, to do that. And then for Xenia and Kettenpalm, I understand the logistics of that, but I don't want to be missing from future being on the list for future possibilities that we may be able to have, because I'm looking down the road for economic development. And even if we pull it from Humboldt side or Mendocino, we need to think about the future of Xenia and Kenton Palm, because I don't think it's going to stay where it is forever. So.
Can I just say, well, maybe it would help also if you went back to the slide with the communities. Just so you know, when I was 22 years old, I spent a lot of time in Xenia, and I have a real soft emotional spot for that community. And so it brings me a lot of joy to hear you say that. I was really saddened that they did not qualify for this grant, but do not, when we set out on this work, we vowed that ubiquitous broadband for every community, and we wouldn't stop until we hit everywhere. And so know that I truly, truly do care. Let me ask more about your Post Mountain, when you say translator, what are you, is there a specific language?
Yes,
The Hmong community.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Thank you. I will make sure that we can get documents translated. We actually at Cal Poly have identified translators. And so thank you for reminding me that I should keep that in mind.
Sure. Thank you for your work.
Connie, thank you very much. Do you have anything else for us?
No, I just appreciate you all, and I appreciate the county's patience, and I'm really, really pleased that the Trump administration saw the value of this application and gave us this opportunity. And I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone at USDA, Rural Development, and the Trump administration for their help with this. And I wanted to say, this is not only a grant, it's a cooperative agreement with USDA. And so that means that USDA will be wanting to come to our meetings and community meetings, and that will also give the community an opportunity to talk to them about other rural development needs when we have those meetings. So I'm very excited. I have one other grant from the Trump administration with partnerships, and they've been just terrific partners. So I wanted you all to know that.
Connie, thank you very much. You've been a great champion for this cause. We do appreciate it.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Get rid of that. Okay, we will move into public comment. This time is for information from the public on matters not appearing on this agenda or within the consent calendar. All comments are limited to 3 minutes and must pertain to matters within the jurisdiction of this board. When addressing the board, please state your name for the record and address the board as a whole through the chair. No action or discussion will be conducted on matters not listed on the agenda. However, the chair may refer the subject matter to the appropriate department or follow up or schedule the matter on a subsequent board agenda. Do we have any public comment in the room? Dan, good morning. How are you?
Good, Liam. Thank you. Hi, Chair, Board, staff. Nice to see everybody again. I'm here to try and put Xenia Lake Mountain Road on the agenda again so that we can discuss some options to fix the road and save the county some money. There is a path forward where residents of Xenia Kenton Palm will be happy with their roads, and it will cost the county less money to do it. Okay, repeating points from my last presentation. Point one, $2.1 million for 800 feet of road. Makes no sense. Two, where did the FEMA road repair money from the August complex fire of 2020 go? Never came our way. Three, Weaverville and Hayfork Yards spend a combined approximate $8,000 per mile. The Ruth Yard spends approximately $24,000 per mile. Why? Okay, again, doing things a little bit different, we can fix the problem and save money. Okay, next, I'm asking you to extend the public comment time. 3 minutes is not always adequate to get enough information to you, the board. At least 5 minutes would be better suited for the public. And more would be even better, but that's fine. I understand that it's a thankless job and it doesn't pay very much, but you guys signed on to serve your constituents. So listening to us for more than 3 minutes shouldn't be considered a burden. How can you represent us without hearing what we have to say? Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you very much. One thing, Dan, just to talk about your 3 minutes there. At times I feel the same way as you do, but at times we get a lot of people in this room that can be repetitive, have the same, talk about the same thing. So, 3 minutes is, what you're gonna get. There are times I'd like to extend that, but we're gonna have to stay with 3 minutes just for time's sake.
Well, that's at your discretion. So you could extend it for some people, you could, and so if someone was repetitive, you could basically tell them to shut up and sit down.
Yeah, it's hard to make exceptions for individuals.
True.
I believe it's in, maybe council can speak to the 3-minute rule. Is there in terms of our, the way we run the meetings through the,
So the 3-minute rule is established up front, so individuals are limited. If the chair were to give additional time to one individual, it would open it up for other individuals as well on that specific topic. But that is they're able to do that if there's a topic that needs to go longer.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And-
thank you very much.
And could they extend the time? I mean, legally, we can extend that time with an agreement with the board, correct?
Correct. I believe we
Okay.
would have to change our policy because it's written in the policy of the 3 minutes. 3 minutes is pretty standard throughout the state. Some jurisdictions do have less time, especially ones that have bigger audience participation. I don't believe I've seen anyone ever go longer than 3 minutes. But again, the chair has some discretion in order and a specific topic. As long as they open it up for one, they do have to open it for everybody on that specific topic. But if there's some item that needs additional time, the chair does have that discretion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments in the room? Lisa, good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Supervisors, Lisa Wright, Lewiston. Something that'd be really helpful to the public would be on the agenda, because we're putting so much into consent, would be to add the page numbers in the backup. You have 1,200 some pages oftentimes, and it's very difficult to go through as a member of the public and find that particular item. I think it could benefit the supervisors as well. So just a little housekeeping matter. Wanted to share with you on the cannabis front that Flora has 18 applications pending with the county currently. All of those have moved through to being allowed for site inspection and moved into technical review for environmental, which is really huge. We're hoping to get those site visits done as soon as possible. We're also planning to submit at least 4 non-cultivation related licenses this week. That would be distribution, processing, transport only, manufacturing, this Thursday. So we're very thankful that we're able to get those moved through and look at the development that comes along and the community enhancement. We additionally have over 30 applications in process at Flora pending, but not being submitted yet. So this is a vital, really vibrant program. And so we really do need your support. It is self-funded. So from a budgetary perspective, please do look at it from a resource allocation, because that can impair the forward progress. As we heard last night at the Lewiston community meeting, the impairment of development as a result of the slow processing times is really a thing. And it's not only in the cannabis sector, it's also across other business types. So I would be requesting that code enforcement be pulled out of community development services and put back where it rightfully belongs, and that is with the Sheriff's Department or a code enforcement division. What we're doing is creating non-trained law enforcement within the civilian staff to go out on code enforcement. Code is law, right? So that's law enforcement. So I'd really like to see that funding go back to the sheriff, not come from the cannabis department, of course. And I would like that topic brought for discussion. There seems to be a lot of open room on the agenda, but we don't seem to be able to get things agendized. That would be a topic for discussion that I think the public's input and hearing from our representatives on their beliefs would really be beneficial from a policy standpoint. I would also go into the fines area with no negotiations, no payment plans. I went back to agendas, did not see that as an agendized topic or board action taken on that in public. So I would like that to still come before the board to have a discussion. When I was working on my master's in public administration 30 years ago, one of the big things is values, right? Because it's different than business. We don't have profit and loss. We have the delivery of services, which entails the examination of our values. And I feel like if we can't have open discussions, we don't really bring fully what the public is feeling should be the values brought forth by policy that this board has. Finally, the appeal that's been pending since July sometime, really questioning what is taking so long for that to move forward. Perhaps we could have an update from the CAO. And then really the validity. Staff and county council is not there to, I saw a copy of the one line of the appeal. Staff isn't really there, neither is county council, to advise on the decision itself by the decision. It's not moving, right? The decision itself, they don't advise yes or no. The planning commission makes that with input on the options.
Okay, a little.
You guys got off on the time and I got more in. Thank you.
So Dan just changed the rule all by himself. So when it gets, I saw 56, but it stayed there.
Okay, it was counting down over here.
You guys see that?
I saw the 56 and then it disappeared.
All right, so just give me the thumbs up. Do we have any other comment in the room? Ben, good morning.
Good morning, staff, council, Trent. So we're getting into budget season, so I thought I'd kick off a pregame tailgate. So a couple concerns. Looking at the budget, looks like the sheriff's budget's increasing from 11.6 and 25 to 13.9 million. Probation's going from 5.3 to 6.6 million. The Board of Supervisors budget's going from 695 to 728. County admin under Trent is going from what I thought I read, I had to double and triple take, 844 to 1.4 million. However, the library is going down from 360 to 253. Jail health's going up from 920 to 1.9 million. That's reactive. IT is going down from 943 to 783K. Looking at the director of IT's synopsis, you guys are playing with fire. We've already been, quote unquote, infiltrated once. You guys are running on bare bones budget as it is, and then you're going to take it down even farther. I don't think you want everything that the county has on the dark web at this point in time. You know, people's pensions, retirement, social security numbers, legal briefs. IT's gone down from $1 million to now this over the last few years. It's time to bump it up. It's time to get our priorities straight and right-size this county. We all have our wants and our needs. Needs come before wants, and we'll get to that later. But I feel this county is still going in the wrong direction as far as budgeting. Trent's done a fairly good job in trying to right the Titanic, but we still have work to do. But library, keep getting cut. That's not acceptable. IT, that's certainly not acceptable. It's nice to see that the animal shelter got a bump. So hopefully that continues, but we'll see. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment in the room? On Zoom.
I show no raised hands.
Okay, we will begin with the Reports and announcements. Department heads. Anybody in the room? Sheriff Saxon, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Board. Tim Saxon, Sheriff. Report on a couple of things. Last week, we had another one of our correctional deputies successfully graduate the Corps Academy, which is wonderful. We recently tested for correctional deputy. We had 3 successful candidates, so we are moving them forward into the background process. We announced deputy sheriff applications. We have several of them scheduled for testing shortly. I think I reported out on this previously. We applied for a grant through a 501c3 organization called Direct Relief. We were successful in getting a grant for $85,000. We purchased a new SAR pickup truck where we outfitted that. It is going down to Reading for some graphics to put on there to mark it out as a search and rescue vehicle. And that will soon be placed into service to replace an aging vehicle that we had. So we're excited about that, including a nice little rollout panel in the back. It's got a cage or a cover in the back and a nice winch with a wire
Cable.
Thank you. Got me on that one.
Hey, that's it for me today.
For the front end. That's it? Okay, well, thank you. I'll take it. So we're really excited about placing that into service. As you know, we've had a lot of fires. The Swift complex was under control. Forest Service was in here with their incident management team. We worked very closely with them, integrated into the entire process with them. They're now gone. Those fires were successfully handled. We've had a lot of smaller fires recently. We just had one yesterday, Junction City. We've had one down in Hayfork. I'm happy to say that when those broke out, our volunteer fire departments were on them swiftly, quickly. Your sheriff's office was able to deploy resources into those communities to evaluate and handle any potential evacuations quickly and immediately. Our notification system through the Ready Trinity, we pushed out evacuation warnings and potential evacuation orders quickly. The zones were notified as soon as the situations were stabilized. We were able to cancel those warnings immediately. Again, looking at, as the community member just pointed out, the budget is coming up for review. We are happy to say that because of those potential budget increases, we are able to hire. We are able to fully staff the jail. We are able to see that our jail health situation is increased dramatically, which is improving the situations there within the jail. And providing a higher level of care that we have not been able to do in the past. So we're very much excited about that. So that concludes my department head report for this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Sarah.
May I just say one thing? Sheriff, you don't have to come back up, but I just wanted to, I look forward to trying to get a resident deputy somewhere up in Mad River and Xenia. So I'm hoping that we can work on doing that with, with the extra funds that we've got coming up. So
Absolutely.
appreciate it, your work on it.
And that's always been my plan from day one, as budget allows, to hire enough people, get them back out into the outlying areas. It's been many years, and not just my administration, but the previous administration, is to get the resident deputies back out into the outlying areas. And with budget cuts, and this is something, again, that I've mentioned before, and it's no secret. Grant funding is amazing. Grant funding helps this county out. Unfortunately, many years ago, this county relied on grant funding to the point where, as positions were hired and came into, especially the sheriff's office, as well as other departments. When those grant funds dried up, it resulted in mass layoffs. And several departments felt that burden. And we never recovered from that. And that's just one of the things that we have to increase revenues coming into this county to get back up to where we were before. But we are working on it step by step.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department heads in the room? CEO Tuthill.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a few items. First, I can address a couple of the public comment items. For the fines and fees associated with any code enforcement, I would refer the public to the February 20th, 2024 meeting agenda and the January 7th, 2025 meeting agenda, where the board provided direction to staff, and staff is in fact carrying out that direction now. For the appeal that has been referenced a few times, that appeal has been, the notice, public notice for that appeal has been sent to the Trinity Journal last Friday. It's going through that process. You should see that in the paper on this Wednesday, and it is scheduled to be heard on October 7th. As been referenced, the budget book was released on the 8th. And public budget hearings are scheduled for the 23rd. If any member of the public or board would like to have any meetings with the admin office prior to those budget hearings, we're always available for that. Just please reach out to myself and we can schedule those as appropriate. For any specific deep dives anybody wants to have on a particular budget topic. The Community Development Department Director position is currently being advertised. We're advertising it US-wide for 30 days. It's been out about 7 so far. We have about 3 weeks left on that. And I am hopeful we can develop a good candidate pool for that and then do some interviews and onboard that position later this calendar year. Our county building official position is also being advertised, as our current county building official will be departing the county as of September 30th. But he will be staying local at least, and I'm grateful for that. Would like just to publicly thank Cody for all he's done for the county. He's been working with us for about 10 years in a few different areas, and specifically for his efforts as the county building official. Even though it's been a relatively short time period there, he's made some significant strides, and really appreciate his enthusiasm, attitude, willingness to get things done and still hold the appropriate compliance in place. So he will be missed, but we wish him well in his new endeavors. Just for information, we have some Hmong translation for the general plan. It's out under the it's under the cannabis equity site, but we're working some Hmong translation not only for cannabis activities associated with Post Mountain, but really anything that would benefit from that Hmong translation. We've got that set up specifically for the community meeting this week down in Post Mountain. We worked a lot pre-meeting for that. We have a translator. The documents have been translated. So we do recognize that as a need, and we're trying to fulfill that. I announced our Employee of the Year, Jahara from our Auditor Controller Department. We will formally recognize her in a board meeting like this, similar to how we did last year, probably within the next couple board meetings. We just got to get some of those logistics scheduled out and get the appropriate presentation material for her. But a big shout out to her and really everybody associated with that whole process. Really glad to see that moving along. And that is all I have for right now, Chair.
Thank you very much. Julia, do you have anything?
Well, things. So I want to remind the Post Mountain community that there will be a meeting today at 4:30 at Post Mountain at the Fire Hall, for their community plan. I encourage everyone from the community to be there, so they can give their input on their plan. So I hope to see you there. I will be there also. The fires have been really, I mean, I'm amazed at how fast all the fires have been put out. And I've been in touch with a lot of my community on issues that they have recently. So, and that's it, kind of a short.
Thank you. Just a couple things for myself. We do have the community workshops coming up. As Julie mentioned, tonight is in Post Mountain. We have the one coming up in Hayfork and Douglas City on the 16th and 18th of this week. Trinity Center will be on the 17th, and High and Palm will also be on the 17th tomorrow. I would like to see great attendance at all of those. Those are very important, and a lot can get done through what the community wants at those meetings. As far as the fires go, I was just thinking driving in here, I think this summer we've had more winter than we had in some of those drought winters that we had. More rain, more lightning. And thanks to everybody, our local volunteer fire department, CAL FIRE, U.S. Forest Service. Andrew, I know you had a fire close to your house the other night. Everything went well. And you are a dual member of the community here as a volunteer fire department and head of our canisters department. So thank you and everybody. I want to thank Supervisor Carpenter Harris for taking over for me for a week or so when I was down. She did a great job, not just filled in, but filled in knowledgeably. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Supervisor Lutweiler.
Yes, for Nortec, which is our workforce development organization for this region, we did meet in Reading last week to complete the process of hiring a new executive director. So Wendy Zanatelli, who is currently the executive director for the Smart Workforce Center that works here in Reading, or I mean in Trinity County, will become the new Nortec executive director on October 1st, 2025. So it's great to have that done, both because we have a new person in place and because that will give me back a lot of time. Sierra Nevada Conservancy, I mentioned at the last board meeting, I'd be leaving immediately following to go down, drive 7.5 hours to their board meeting. While we were in the board meeting, they called to cancel because of wildfire activity down there. So I didn't end up going to that meeting. They postponed it until the December meeting. There were no big time-sensitive decisions, so we were okay to postpone. Animal shelter was mentioned. The TASA fundraiser participated in that last, well, a couple weeks ago, maybe now. But they raised $11,000, so their ongoing work to continue to support the animal shelter and the animals in various ways, but great work being done by that group. Fire Chiefs Association, I attended that meeting in support of Supervisor Cox, who's our primary, since she's got an excused absence at this point. And the chiefs at that time unanimously voted to not endorse the proposed petition focused on a 1% increase to our sales tax that had, as I understand it, 50% of the funds going to the volunteer fire departments, 25% to the animal shelter, and 25% to the library system. So just wanted to share that information that they, I guess this had been before them for a couple of meetings, but I hadn't been there. And so at this meeting, they did a closed vote where they wrote down their decisions, and it was unanimous to not endorse that, if you will, at this point. CSAC, I was in Sacramento last week. I skipped the reception the night before and just drove down there and back on the day. And the board approved plans for renovation of the CSAC headquarters building. So this is a 20-something million renovation of a historic building right there in the capital area. And I think they have some great plans. I think most importantly, they kept emphasizing their funding plans do not call for the counties to have to pay any increase in membership fees. So it's not that this is going to then be a financial burden on the counties going forward. They have been setting aside money for this purpose, and they have some creative financing that they're working. And so it'll take a while, take a couple of years to get it done, but it looks like it's going to be moving forward. We'll have a final decision on it at the annual meeting in December. They also provided, staff provided legislative updates, and legislation had been extended into Saturday. So actually, while they were giving us updates, they would go sit down and then come back up to the podium and say, we just got a text and now this is the status. So it was very ongoing, trying to work on issues on behalf of our counties. And one of the things they shared was about this upcoming special election. In about a week or two time period, their lobbying took that from no funding to the counties to reimbursement to the counties to prepayment to the counties. And they were very aggressive supporting that process to help get that funding to us. And I think I correct that Shanna informed me, we've already received I think $250,000. Haven't received it, but have been, I'm sorry, what? I don't want to get it wrong.
205.
205.
It should be received by the end of this month.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. So that was a great turn, and I think it's just a good example of how these organizations, whether it's NACO or RCRC or CSAC, can really help us, and they do. PSA 2, which is the Area Agency for Aging, we had a board meeting here yesterday, and I think the biggest thing there was didn't specifically affect Trinity, but it affected our agency that represents us as well. But there was a provider down in the Reading area that we were having a lot of trouble with, and we finally have resolved that issue, thankfully. Community plan meetings, we were in Lewiston last night. I think it was one of the bigger turnouts for community plan meetings that we've had, and good discussion. And I'm glad everybody's encouraging it and promoting it. I think it was really interesting to see how people responded to the questions that they're being asked about what kind of development do they want to see, and it was good. I was unable to attend the Weaverville meeting since District 1 has a piece of Weaverville because of the conflict. That was last night as well. Hopefully that one also went well. And then I will be at the Trinity Center meeting on Wednesday. And then last thing I wanted to mention is the Lewiston Architectural Review Committee. So like there is a historical review committee here in Weaverville that evaluates plans and such for development, if you will. In the historic district here, there is one that can be in place in Lewiston. It was previously in place and positions filled. It has not been filled for some time because there's very little activity in that district. But there is activity right now where organizations or individuals have put forward plans to the planning department, building department, trying to get those through. And we're at the point where the fact that we still haven't been able to pull a Lewiston Architectural Review Committee back together would then be holding these people up. So I mentioned this last night at the community plan meeting. I've mentioned it multiple times in my outreach and social media and newsletters and everything else. We did have a couple people interested last night, but even if we can get all the people lined up, because you need people with varying degrees of experience in certain areas, then there has to be a formal process where the board approves it. And so we would be really delaying this work. And so what I am suggesting is that staff go ahead and bring approval of those plans, or not the approval of the plans, but bring forward at a future board meeting, however you need to do it, so that we could authorize you to move forward without that sign off by the Lewiston Architectural Review Committee. And in the meantime, I'll be reaching out to try to use that as leverage, hopefully to get people to step up. But absent that, I think it's more important that we allow the county to put forward appropriate thought about how those things should be addressed and not hold things up any longer than we have to. It kind of speaks to what we heard earlier about being a little more streamlined. And that's my update.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
I attended the Trinity Native Wellness Coalition. We had some discussion around how we can improve services for both physical and mental health for the Native populations. in our county. I attended in part, but mostly had to read the information through the notes, the NCRP Cannabis Ad Hoc meeting. Through that, from what came out of that discussion was an effort to identify more partners and to focus on three main components of illegal grows, which is the use of illegal chemicals, water quality issues, and illegal water use in in the region of the North Coast Resource Partnership, and then a potential request for a declaration of environmental emergency due to some of the extensive negative environmental impacts caused from illegal grows in counties adjacent to us, and then in some pockets in our own county. I also attended the Trinity River Watershed Council meeting. There was an amazing presentation on the lamprey eel and how that species is being impacted through different river and riverine watershed systems, and some of the efforts that are going to be brought forward to help establish some gain, hopefully, in that population. It was a very good presentation, and I made note that I was grateful. We need to emerge out of single species management because we lack our mindsets, our abilities are not capable of complete holistic management, but we should try at our best to manage in a holistic and entire approach. We struggle sometimes as humans because we just don't have the capacity to see all the interconnectivity in our natural environment. I currently have been, as I'm sure everyone else has been, reviewing the budget. And I will be attending the Post Mountain meeting tonight, encourage the community to go, as well as High and Palm and Junction City this week for the community plans. In addition to that, I've met with several community members on site and communicated via email and telephone on issues that they're having with, just specific departments and concerns they have in their community. So I just want to speak towards that. I would like to encourage anyone who cannot make it to the meeting to do their 3-minute public comment period, that you always have the opportunity to email your Board of Supervisors representative or call us. And I believe most of us do our best to address those concerns and have open communication about issues that you may be having. I do have 2 things I would like to say. It's an outreach to the communities at large in all of Trinity County. I ask that if you see somebody illegal dumping, leaving vehicles, abandoned motorhomes, cars, whatever it may be, that you would please take the time to report that individual. I know sometimes it's hard because maybe we know them, but it is becoming an absolute disaster on our roadways and just off of main roads, both that are on private lands and then Forest Service lands, and then just sitting alongside of our highways. This is an absolute deplorable action. Clean up your own mess and pay for your own mess, because when you don't, you're making the citizens and community members who live beside you pay for that. And if you hire somebody to clean up your property, I implore you to make payment upon receipt of the dump receipts that you've gotten. People are dumping what is clearly job debris in huge piles on federal, private land, and on land that's under use agreement. And this has to stop. It's ridiculous behavior, it's immature, and it is completely rude, for lack of a better word. So please make sure that if you have trash, you take it to the dump. If you hire someone, they have taken it to the dump. And if you see someone, then please report them. I ask you this. Lastly, I would just like to say that it is impossible to come into this meeting without the understanding and the recognition of the events of the last few months. It is entirely saddening to me, and my heart weeps for the families of the children that were killed in the shooting in the church, the other folks that were killed recently in the last years coming out of organization meetings, and then of course this last week with the open murder of Charlie Kirk. We are in America. We have the right through our First Amendment to speak and to have communications with each other. And I would ask that even though we may disagree with many things, sometimes a lot and sometimes not so much, that it is our responsibility to have communication one with another, to respect each other, and to work towards solutions. We have to do this. We cannot be afraid to share opinions that maybe don't match with everybody's, and we have to always do that respectfully, and we have to always make sure that we create environments where people have the opportunity to have open dialogue, because solutions and partnership are the only ways that we can and will be the America that we were graciously born into. Thank you.
Thank you. And Hattie, I want to thank you for covering for me for TMC this week, as I cover for Jill, leaving later today for RCRC through Friday in Lake Tahoe. So I think,
You're busy. Meetings and
to
meetings.
say the least.
May I say
Go
one
ahead.
thing thank you, Heidi, for mentioning Charlie Kirk. I think it's important to mention. And it is our position to take, that we need to work together, that we need to appreciate each other for the differences we have. This is America, and we need to make sure that our children know that, and in our community. So thank you.
Yeah, and that was a big loss, but keep in mind that there was also 6 or 8 other children killed that day,
Absolutely.
that were equally as big a loss. And I'm not sure how you cure this, but it's very bothersome. We'll move on to the consent calendar now. These items include routine, non-controversial matters and will be acted upon by the board by one roll call motion. If a member of the public has a question or comments on an item or the consent calendar, they may provide them now. A member of the board or staff may request an item be pulled or considered separately. Would we like to pull anything from the consent calendar?
Yes, please. D9?
D9?
Yep.
Anybody else on the board? Pull anything? Heidi?
Nothing.
Anybody in the room?
I do have a comment after we vote.
So public comment now?
Go ahead, yes. Ben, how are you?
I'm good. Hello again. Just a couple comments regarding the consent calendar broadly before I ask for a couple items.
One more time, Ben?
Sorry. Before I ask for a couple of these to be pulled, just a comment about the consent calendar in general. I mean, it says these items are for non-controversial matters. I can agree with a lot of these, things that are, signing letters of support, oppositions, things like that. That's non-controversial. When you get to things that have to do with impacting the general fund, things of that nature, things that may or may not be the values necessarily of Trinity County, I think those should be pulled in general and set up under E. So I would actually like to pull D9.
D9 again?
Yep.
Okay.
Because that has to do with the general fund. And then I'd also like to pull D10, the license plate reader grant approval for the Sheriff's Department. I'm not against license plate readers. I don't think it's the right fit for the county at this time. I used to work for a company that manufactured license plate readers before they were bought out by a big company within the public safety space. I think we could use our sheriff's staff time better. We've heard in the past from the sheriff that he has a very small staff now due to budget cuts, things like that, and every minute that they spend should be spent productively. I would love to see body-worn cameras in the county. That's something that can increase public safety. That's something that can improve evidence collection. It's recorded. Transparency. It can get some of the BS rumors that go on within the county. We have this on tape within the Sheriff's Department. there you go. It either happened or it didn't. I would say we need to table this. This isn't Trinity County values. We don't need license plate readers in the county. My guess is these are going to be put in places on state roads. Why is the county paying for it? Why aren't we having the state? Why isn't CHP handling this?
Ben, thank you. And I relish the day that maybe you sit where I sit and I sit where you sit. Sometimes easier to make those comments from out there than in here. And I think the license plate is not coming from Trinity County, it's coming from grant funding. So I just want to make a correction there. Anybody else in the room want to pull anything? Dan, how are you? All right.
I agree, D9. Seems like kind of a waste of money. I'm not sure why we need it.
Fair enough. D9 again?
D10, I agree with Ben. Body cams seem like a way better idea than that. Maybe a little more information on D12.
Do you want to pull?
No, I don't really want it pulled. My comment would be, I mean, isn't our DOT director and engineer, why are we hiring outside? And maybe look at the cost of that a little bit. I mean, it's just to design a bridge for 431,000 seems a little extravagant. And also on D10, whether it's pulled or not, the cost is for the initial purchase. What about maintenance? Where would that money come from?
So we're pulling, you're
Is
pulling
D10 pulled?
D10 again?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That's it.
That's it?
Thank you.
Anybody else in the room?
Chair, may I make a comment?
CEO Tuthill.
The only people that pull items are members of the board
Mm-hmm.
or the CEO. So if the members of the board would like to pull an item based upon public comment, please identify what member wants to pull that, and we will do that. But members of the public do not pull items from the consent calendar.
Thank you. Lisa?
Comment about this process, so that I'm clear. My understanding was that a request could be made to pull an item, and then the board would authorize that. But then doesn't it become a discussion point for separate public comment on each rather than public comment during the request, right? So just a comment on the process, right?
Yeah, if I may.
Go ahead.
I think the one clarification I would make on that, Lisa, is, because I was thinking the same thing, but because a member of the public could request an item to be pulled and it doesn't get pulled, if they don't make their comments about their concerns there, they may never get to. So that's the only reason, because I started to think the same thing. It's like, well, that should wait until we discuss it, but we don't know because as it was pointed out by CAO, we have to decide that it's being pulled. Just clarification.
Thank you, Supervisor
Thank
Whitmore.
you.
I was going to say the same thing.
Make that request to pull. I'm gonna make
Oh,
the request then.
pub-
to
Do we
pull.
have
Do you have to-
comments online?
Okay.
Do we have any comments online?
I show no raised hands.
Okay.
We move a motion and then we can have discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented with the removal of item number D9 and D10 for the purpose of providing extended information on those items.
I will second.
Supervisor Gogan,
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler,
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield.
Aye.
Okay, we will go to D9, which was pulled by Heidi.
Me, it was pulled by me. Pulled by me, D9.
Was 9 pulled by you? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that an election type.
Don't we need to
consultant-
present the item?
Chair, you need to read the item in that it's
Great.
pulled, so you just need to read it as it is in the agenda.
Okay, so I will read it. County Administrative Office, approval of an agreement with Inseparable Solutions LLC to provide transitional planning and election administration support.
Okay. So my concern about this is a couple of things. Number one, I did a little bit of research on this company. I'm not sure It's a very young company, 6 weeks old. It has an extremely important impact on our county as a consulting firm. And I'd like to know more about the woman that is in charge of operations, Joanne Francescott. I think I know a little bit about, and we're in talks with Shasta ROV. It'd be good, I think, if we tabled this and we did some research on this company before we hired her. And the firm.
Does the board have any comment on that?
I would like to hear from, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to ask.
We never really gave staff a chance to present it. We read it in, but we didn't hear from staff on the item, and I think I'd like to hear that, and then we can have questions, then we can have motions and discussions, and
Yeah, so I can talk about this and we can have as much discussion as the board wants. So as the board knows, our current registrar of voters is in a state of transition. She is retiring effective December 31st. Our elections experience, your staff's elections experience is absolutely minimal. The other individual who had helped with elections departed for another job over at TCOE about 6 weeks ago. So when your current registrar of voters is not available anymore, we have no staff experience with elections. So the intent of this contract is a not to exceed contract, potentially up to 50,000, depending upon what we would need it's all based upon an hourly rate. The individual who has formed this company, it is a relatively young company. The individual has extensive elections experience though, from a process perspective. She has extensive time in a local, Northern California rural area, and she comes highly regarded through the state elections professional organizations. She will not be making decisions on behalf of the county. Whomever is the current registrar of voters, and up until December 31st, that will be Shanna. After that, that will be whomever the board appoints as part of that process that is ongoing right now. The reason we're asking for this now is twofold. One, because the state threw at us another special election that we weren't anticipating when Shanna was going to retire as of 30 December. So we would have had about 6 months or so before the next election to train up somebody and to work that process. However, we don't have that now. So we need some support to help run this election in November. As Supervisor Lutweiler stated, the elections department put in for $205,000. We did get that full request. As stated in the staff report, that $50,000 is potentially offset by, that $50,000 of general funds is potentially offset by those funds. Because when the staff report was put together, we didn't know for sure if we were getting those funds. Now, I've got a letter from the state controller's office that says we're getting those funds. They're not in the bank yet. So that's why I still put in there that there's still potential. I have an extremely high confidence level that those funds are coming. And the way the letter reads as far as how we can use those funds, it's for this upcoming November election and the future June 2026 election. So I'm confident that we can use the funds to help offset our needs in the elections office. Our needs, your needs, the community's needs in the elections office to make sure that we run a legally compliant election. And again, this consultant is not going to be making decisions on behalf of the county. We will still have an appointed at all times registrar of voters up until the 31st of December. That's Shanna White. Post that will be whomever the board appoints, as I previously stated. So I'm confident with this individual. I'm confident with the experience they bring to the table. And the locality is also very, very helpful. And it is really a very small niche industry. There's virtually nobody out there that provides this level of consultant advice and help in this arena, just because it is so niche. So with that, happy to answer any more questions.
And CEO Toto, you said that money was expected by the end of the month?
End of September is what the letter said.
Do you have any questions from the board?
I do. I think there needs to be a little bit more research done on this consultant.
Is this a
Um,
question or is
it's-
this a?
Well,
Position.
I'm against this consultant,
Okay.
okay? And I will make it clear that I'll make a motion to table this until we research her and this company, okay? That's what I'm saying, just to protect the county and to protect our constituents. Maybe wrong, maybe right, I don't know, but I just have a concern. And
Would you like to mention your
maybe-
concerns, Julia?
Do we have a second on her motion? Okay. The motion dies for lack of a second. Any discussion?
I move to approve as presented. Oh. Thank you.
Public comment in the room? John, how are you this morning?
Pretty good. Little cold, but other than that. I think the key word here is that this person is appointed by the board. It's not an elected position. So it doesn't matter who you put there. You could put Joe Blow there if you wanted to. So, I mean, that's a very important thing to remind yourself of. So if this person is qualified to do it, then you can hire the person.
Thank you. Supervisor Lutweiler. I'm sorry, Ben, go ahead.
That's okay. I share the concern with the age of the company. I don't necessarily have a concern regarding bringing them in. However, I'm wondering are we bringing them in because Shannon's leaving at the end of the year, or are we wanting additional value for the upcoming election that we're having? I guess that's a clarification I'd ask. But other than that, if we're getting the funds at the end of the month to cover this from a fiscal point of view, I have no issues with it. But just the fact that we're bringing a company in that's 6 weeks old, yes, the person may have extensive, historical background on elections. It just seems a little strange. Thanks.
Did she work for Shasta County? She worked for Shasta County,
She has, yes.
and was she let go from Shasta County?
Was she let
Was she let go? Was she fired from that position?
Oh, I don't think that's,
Or no? Or let go?
I don't think we can talk about that.
Okay.
Dan, go right ahead.
Just the same thing. You hear rumors, so you kind of wonder about a person. So it'd be nice to kind of research her a little bit better, or maybe a little transparency on that. Who or what she is and what affiliations with other counties, things like that. Kind of good to know.
Keep in mind too that, rumors are rumors until they're facts. Every
Exactly.
company was a startup at one point. And I think that you have to think about the experience that goes in behind a startup company. And I think this person has the ability to help us, and we also have the funding to fund it. And, rumors are rumors. I think if everybody believed every rumor they heard about me, I wouldn't be sitting here. So,
That's why I
Take-
didn't say
take
any
it
of
for
it.
what it
I'm
is.
saying that you hear some stuff, so you kind of would at least like to have a little background on her. Would be kind of nice.
understandable.
Thank you.
Understandable. Margaret?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't know any of her experience in Shasta County. I will say from the folks I work with in Tehama County, highly recommend her in terms of the fact that she has been a source to my elections department there that was relatively new as well as training them. And so I can say the Tehama County Elections Department cannot speak more highly of her.
And I've also heard very respectable things about her. I don't know about the rest of the board. Let's go right ahead.
Well, since we're asking, Did we do a background check on her? Is there questionable behavior on her part in other positions? Was she fired? Why was she fired? It's a public kind of position. I think that comes into play, especially when we're dealing with something as sensitive as elections. Was that the most recent experience? So what she had done maybe 10 years ago for somebody, if she had firing for cause or something where she's doing something illegal or unethical, I think that's legitimate for discussion when you bring someone into our stratosphere here.
Margaret, go right ahead.
I don't know if it's appropriate for us to talk fully about her employment history. I will tell you that the position of assistant election official is an at-will position. When a new election official goes into place, they can pick whoever they want. It's not a firing for cause. It's just they have someone they like better or they've had experience with. So that would not be something to consider in this case.
Thank you for your clarity.
Are we done with public comment?
Anybody else on Zoom? Anybody else in the room? On Zoom?
I show no raised hands.
We'll go back to your motion.
Yeah, so this is stated as approve the agreement, and I will continue with my motion to approve the matter as presented.
I will second.
And for discussion, I just want to say, I understand concerns. There's a lot of concern about elections these days. Frankly, I wouldn't hold anything about Shasta elections as relevant to discussions about what we would do here, because I have no respect for how that was handled there. But mainly, I trust in the diligence of our staff to do this work. I believe that it is timely and important, and I've not heard anything that gives me concern that someone that can come in and help document and train us so that we do a good job this time and are prepared for the next time, that's a bad thing. And so I think it's important for us from a timing standpoint to keep this moving, because that special election is going to be here soon, and preparation for those is not easy.
And again, this is process only. They will not be making decisions for our county. Sharon, go ahead.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris,
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler,
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield,
Aye.
No.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye. We will now move on to D10. Sheriff, approve an agreement with Flock Group Incorporated to provide software and hardware capability of capturing audio, video, imaging, and recording data. No impact to the general fund. Up to $67,550 from grants to the sheriff's office. Tim, I see you're up and ready.
I'm up. I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah, that's a good part.
That'll be up to you whether I'm ready.
Yeah, you're good.
Morning, Chair, members of the board. On this item, as you know, Trinity County is over 3,200 square miles. With our limited number of deputies, we simply can't be everywhere at once. I'm bringing forward this proposal to install Flock and automated license plate reader cameras. These cameras act as a force multiplier, help us recover stolen vehicles, respond faster to incidents such as Amber Alerts, missing persons, and help investigate serious crimes. They also deter criminals who might otherwise see our county as an easy target. This project is funded entirely by grant funds, no cost to the general fund, and we've structured it as a 2-year pilot program so we can measure the effectiveness before deciding whether or not to continue with it. Cameras do not record people. They only capture license plates, which are already displayed in public. Access is restricted, logged, and audited to ensure accountability. What that means is nobody can just go in and grab the information. It has to be for a specific purpose within the department. You have limited access. Everybody that goes in there has to have a logon identified, it's time stamped, and it has to have a case number in order to be tracked. So at the end of the day, this is not Big Brother. This is a modern, responsible tool to keep residents and visitors safe and to give our deputies the support they need to cover the county this large. To address some of the comments that were made here today, yes, the CHP is using automated license plate readers across the state. In fact, they recently got an additional contract to provide more cameras throughout the state in major metropolitan areas because that's their focus. They really don't have the means to provide them on state highways in Trinity County. The comment was made that my staff, they don't have time to use these devices. Well, it's not for all of my deputies. This is an investigative tool. My detectives, my investigators, they're the ones that will be using this with a need. Case comes up, something gets reported. The detectives are the ones that would be going into the system to search the data to determine whether or not it's useful and attach it to a case. So in essence, this would be saving time by an additional tool instead of them having to track down leads or make calls to additional counties that already have this tool. They can then go in and just use it themselves to find the information. So, any questions?
Yeah, so just on the last thing you said, so it's kind of a looped in, so we'll say, to our East Shasta, to our West Humboldt.
Yes,
They will have someone that they're investigating and looking at on their side, we'll say in Shasta. That will get looped into our system. If that car comes through our area, we see it, we know that it's perhaps something that we may need to deal with. And if it does pass through, Humboldt County will also have that information from this.
correct. Yeah,
Interesting.
currently what we're doing is when we have a need to access that information, we have to call another county and have them go into their system and look for the vehicle. Whereas now, if we have the ability, we can log into the system and get the information ourselves. And what that does, it allows other counties that have the same system to research that data and then get information to help their investigations.
Very good. And I did have a few questions from my constituents. It is not racially profiling. It is not looking at people in cars. It is a license plate detector.
That's correct. These cameras do not look inside the vehicle. They're merely exterior. And to allay the fears of 14th Amendment violations, it captures all vehicles, not specific vehicles.
And your Fourth Amendment also?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not an illegal search because it's on the outside of the vehicle. It's capturing things that are available to the public. If you were standing outside the vehicle, it's not an illegal search.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions? Supervisor Carpenter Harris?
I don't necessarily have any questions. I just have, I just want to echo some of the concerns that Liam mentioned from his constituents. So thank you for clarifying that. And just for additional clarification, as you've already mentioned, this piece of equipment that we are getting came solely 100% cost was paid for through a grant that was clearly written for this type of tool specifically.
These grant funds became available and was written for this equipment.
Okay, so that money can't be spent on anything else. It was written for this specific piece of information, for piece of equipment.
That is correct.
Okay, and then also, you've already said this, but it's just reading license plates only as people pass through Highway 299, 36, or wherever you all decide where to put them. Do you have ideas of where you will probably place them?
There are 8 pieces of equipment, 8 cameras. They will be on Highway 36 and Highway 299.
And then, I would just want to make sure that I heard that this is going to link us together with other counties and state readers so that if there is maybe an Amber Alert or there's a situation where we're tracking a specific vehicle, we will now get to be part of that evidence delivery because we'll be able to have seen if that person has gone through or if that vehicle has gone through our county.
Not only in California, but also a national database.
Okay, thank you for your time.
So Tim, just one question, 299 and 36, not 3?
At this time, there's not enough cameras to go into that location as well. These are the locations that have been identified.
Thank you.
One more point of clarification. I just want to make sure I heard you say this is a 2-year pilot program. We're going to before we move into maybe the potential expenditures of our own funds or sustaining this piece of equipment, we will have done a full kind of data collection over the next 2 years to make sure that this is something that is helping. It's being part of a network of things that are doing good. So we're going to check that out before we further our interest in this
That is correct.
for the 2 years. Okay.
That is correct. My intent is to report back to you on the success of the program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I just agree with the body cam at some point. Be a great idea
Absolutely. And just
alongside
to
it.
follow up on that as a separate note, I'm probably talking more than I should. For the last 6 years, we've been attempting to get funding for body cameras. It's a very important thing, not only for patrol, but also in the correctional facility. My staff is in favor of it. Administration's in favor of it. They are extremely expensive because they have ongoing costs that cannot be covered by grant funds. That particular data has to be stored in-house. It's expensive it's huge amounts of data that has to be stored. Then we have PRA requests that also have to be handled by staff members, either that or we have to contract through a consulting company to handle that amount of PRA requests. The equipment is owned, not like the flock cameras where we're merely using those. We do not own these cameras. So that's another expense. We've been close to being able to get grants for that, but they don't cover the entire costs. So the county would have to, through general funds or through some other type of funding source, cover the other part of those expenditures. Have not been able to identify enough funds for that because of budgetary reasons. But
Understood.
we have continually been trying to get that.
Sheriff Saxon, thank you very much. Any comment in the room?
Hello. A couple points of clarification. I think my comments were taken out of context previously. So I wasn't speaking as of a concern to deputies, investigators having the time to look at this stuff. My concern was statements previously by the sheriff that his staff time is very, very important. And I feel that while LPR cameras are important, I think Trinity County is a ways out, and considering the fact that CHP doesn't put us high on their priority list, says something about that. I was stating more along the line of Mary's time having to write these grants up, research these grants. And personally, I implored the supervisors and the CEO to find money for body-worn cameras. I think it would fix a lot of issues in this county when it comes to transparency. I really do. I think it would take the level of conspiracy theories and rumors down a bit on several things. Like I said, I think it's right idea, wrong time. Just because we have this from grant money doesn't mean we should use it. We could be offered a helicopter next year with grant money. It doesn't mean we should take it. Not everything that we're offered, we should accept. Thanks.
Thank you. Any public comment in the room? Dan, how are you?
So big brother's big brother, no matter how you sugarcoat it.
Fair enough. Any other public comment in the room? On Zoom?
I show no raised hands.
Bring it back to the board.
Move to approve as presented.
I will second.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
can we check
discussion.
for discussion before we just jump to the vote,
Go
please?
ahead.
I just want to state here, I think, I appreciate that our sheriff's department has done the due diligence to try to seek grants that would allow us to add this law enforcement tool. It wasn't handed to us. We asked for it. We want it. We want to use it. It can be of value to us. We've had a number of examples where we have been wondering where people were that committed crimes. And if could have had something like this, it might have helped us in the past, and it probably will help us in the future. I appreciate that we are being more diligent about making commitments that have time limits to them, instead of we have in the past approved something because we had grant money, but we were really committing to 10 years when the grant funding supported 2 years. And so this is not one of those. And so I appreciate that diligence and that discipline in how we're approaching these things. So I believe that this has the right limits to address some of the concerns that have been raised by the public and supervisors, and I think it provides the benefit that was outlined by Sheriff Saxon, and that is why I think it's important that we support it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler.
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield.
Aye.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye. We'll take a 10-minute break. We will come back at 11 o'clock.
Thank you.
county matters, part of our agenda. These items include non-routine or controversial matters and are listed alphabetically by department. A member of the board, staff, or public may request that an item be heard out of order. We have one item today, E1, Community Development Planning. Approve budget adjustment for 24-25 for planning. Department 2800, increasing revenues by $1,137 and services and supplies by $1,482. And approve a budget adjustment for 24-25 for general fund contingency. Department 9901, decreasing appropriations for contingency by $345. Increase in general fund appropriations in the amount of $345. Current balance for general fund contingency is $175,818. Drew, good after morning to you.
Good
Almost.
day, Chair, Supervisors, Drew Pavani, Interim Planning Director. So a little bit of background. On August 19th, we brought an item before you all to, approve a similar request, essentially just to balance the budget for 24-25. We had a couple bills post. And so given the cutoff, as I said, on that August 19th meeting, we were estimating that we had at least $15,000 in cost recovery revenues expected to come in for work performed during the 24-25 fiscal year cycle. Last week, we actually brought in over $16,000 in cost recovery funds. However, that couldn't be applied to balance the 24-25 budget. So here we are asking for contingency funds of $345.
No questions from me.
The board have any questions on the $345?
Have none. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Do you have any public comment in the room? On Zoom?
I show no raised hands.
Bring it back to the board.
Move to approve as presented?
I will second.
Supervisor Gogan.
Aye.
Supervisor Lutwiler.
Aye.
Supervisor Brownfield.
Aye.
Supervisor Carpenter Harris.
Aye.
Okay, we will move into closed session.
Last time readout. That's from the readout of the last closed session.
Yeah, I got it right here. So, the report out. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So report out from last closed session was labor negotiations and advice was given. Closed session today, F1.
I think it was direction was given to staff on all the labor negotiating items from the
Yes.
last. Okay, thanks.
From the third, second.
Correct.
Okay, closed session, F1. Government Code Section 54954.5E, Public Employee Appointment, County Clerk, Recorder, Assessor, Register of Voters. F2, County Code Section 54954.5E, Vet to Public Services and Facilities, consultation with County Council and Sheriff. Apparently we have no
No public comment in the room.
no
on
public
closed
comment in the
session.
room. Well, we have or on Zoom.
I show no raised hands.
We are adjourned.